Everyone had a seat inside the church, except me. I was told there wasn't room. But when I looked through the doorway and saw the empty row with my name card ripped in half, I knew something was terribly wrong. And just like that, I knew this wasn't a mistake. This was a message. My name is Alina. I'm the eldest of 3 girls. And for most of my life, I've carried the unspoken responsibility of holding this family together, quietly, dutifully, without question. When our mother went back to work, it was me who packed lunchboxes, braided hair, and stayed up late helping with homework. When our father was between jobs and tense beyond words, it was me who buffered the anger with distraction, jokes, silence, anything to keep peace. And when my younger sister, Noelle, fell in love at 19, got married at 20, and became the golden daughter overnight, I was the one who stood behind her with a smile on my face, clapping the loudest, even when I was barely keeping my own life from falling apart. You see, I made one mistake. I fell in love young, trusted someone I shouldn't have. And when I got pregnant, alone at 23, everything changed. Not just for me, but in how they saw me. Suddenly, I wasn't the responsible one. I was the cautionary tale. The looks started first, long, lingering glances at family dinners, like I was something fragile and flammable. Then came the silence, the kind that hums around your head like static. That year, no one asked if I was okay. But they were quick to talk about how Noelle just got accepted into grad school. Still, I never stopped showing up. For birthdays, holidays, funerals. I brought dishes to potlucks. Helped organize baby showers. I stayed polite. I stayed kind. I stayed quiet. So when I got the invitation to Noelle's baby dedication, I let myself believe things were different. That maybe, just maybe, we had come full circle. That being part of the ceremony meant I was part of the family again.
Whole. Scene.
Included. I bought a soft yellow dress for my daughter, Maya, 7 years old, curious and sweet, the kind of child who still believes everyone tells the truth. I curled her hair that morning and told her we were going to celebrate her little cousin. She smiled so big, she couldn't stop twirling in front of the mirror. I wore my best dress. Neutral tones, soft makeup, low heels. Nothing to make a scene. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to belong. We arrived 10 minutes early. The parking lot was full, cars lined up along the curb. I remember thinking, this is going to be a beautiful day. I held Maya's hand as we walked through the tall oak doors into the lobby of the church. The soft hum of a piano floated down the hall. Guests buzzed around us in suits and floral dresses. My sister liked to do things big, and this was her moment. A young usher with a clipboard stood near the sanctuary doors. He looked nervous. When we approached, I gave him my name with a smile. He scanned the list, then frowned. "I'm sorry. We don't seem to have any more seating inside," he said, shifting his weight. "It's very full today." I paused. "But I RSVP'd 3 weeks ago," Noelle said. He cut in quickly. "Yeah, I know. I'm just doing what I was told." He looked past me toward another group waiting to be seated, already avoiding my eyes. Behind him, I saw the sanctuary doors swinging open and shut. People were being guided in. Some I didn't recognize. Others glanced at me, and then quickly looked away. I took a slow step forward and peered into the room. And that's when I saw it. 4th row from the front. A section labeled Reserved. 10 seats across. 9 occupied. 1 empty. But what caught my eye was the floor just beside it, under the pew, near a fallen program, a torn name card. Half of it folded. The other half ripped clean through. I knew my own handwriting. I'd written my name in pen on the RSVP envelope to make sure they didn't miss it. My heart thudded against my ribs. I turned around. People were still shuffling in. An aunt I hadn't seen in years brushed past me and smiled awkwardly. I tried to return it, but my throat felt tight. Then I felt a small tug on my hand. Maya looked up at me, her eyes wide and confused. "Mommy, why are we standing in the hallway?" She whispered. "Did we do something wrong?" I didn't know what to say. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't sure if I had just been forgotten or erased. I stared at the ripped name card for a few seconds longer than I should have. Long enough for my vision to blur. Long enough for the truth to settle in. This wasn't an accident. I had RSVP'd weeks ago. I remembered sitting at the kitchen table, typing out the email, making sure to mention that Maya and I would be attending. I even offered to come early and help with decorations. My sister had responded with a thumbs-up emoji. Not words, just an emoji. I should have known then, but I didn't. I still believed the best in her. I still wanted to believe I belonged. A few feet away, a cousin I hadn't seen in years waved awkwardly. She had a seat, of course. So did her husband. So did an old family friend who used to babysit us when we were kids. But not me. Not the one who raised Noelle, when our parents were too busy trying to build a life to notice the one they already had. And that row, fourth from the front, still had space. Still had one empty seat. They didn't run out of chairs. They ran out of grace. Maya squeezed my hand again. "Are we going in soon?" she asked, her voice low. I crouched down beside her, brushing a curl behind her ear. "Not yet, sweetheart. Just a little longer." I forced a smile I didn't feel. My voice was steady, but something inside me cracked. As I stood there in that polished church hallway, surrounded by soft hymns and hushed voices, I began to realize something. This moment wasn't new. It was just louder. I'd always been standing outside something. I thought back to my college graduation. Noelle didn't come. She said it was too far, even though it was just 2 hours away. My parents showed up late and left before the photos. I remember holding my diploma, smiling for strangers, then going home and microwaving dinner while Maya, still a baby then, slept on my chest. Then came Noelle's wedding. I paid for her wedding shoes. I helped with the invitations. I stayed up with her the night before the big day, helping her write her vows when she had a meltdown. But when the photographers started family portraits, I wasn't asked to be in the first round. Just immediate family, they said. As if I was something else. Even my birthdays started disappearing after Maya was born. One year, my father said, "We're just too busy right now." Another year, my mother sent a gift card in the mail, no call, no message. Noelle posted a happy birthday message on her story and deleted it the next morning. I told myself it was fine, that I didn't need a party or a card, that I was stronger than all that. But when someone forgets you enough times, you start to believe you're forgettable. I wasn't a screw-up. I wasn't selfish. I worked. I raised my daughter alone. I kept the family secrets. I carried their burdens and never asked them to carry mine. And still, I was always the one outside the door.
The music changed.
I could hear the start of the dedication, Noelle's voice echoing faintly through the sanctuary. There was laughter.
Joy.
The sound of applause. It should have been beautiful. But to me, it sounded like rejection. I looked down at Maya. She was sitting on the hallway bench now, swinging her legs, still holding the little silver box we'd brought as a gift. I couldn't do it anymore. Without a word, I reached for her hand and stood up. "We're going," I said quietly. "But we didn't give the gift," she whispered, confused. "We didn't see the baby." "I know, honey."
But we're not staying.
"I'll explain later." I could feel the tears threatening, but I didn't let them fall.
Not there.
Not while they could still see me. We walked past the usher. He looked away. We walked past the rows of framed baby photos. The hallway was quieter now, but it rang with everything they didn't say to me. Every invite they never meant. Every time they pretended I didn't exist. When we reached the parking lot, I buckled Maya in and sat in the driver's seat, hands trembling around the wheel. My stomach twisted, not with shame, but with exhaustion. I opened my phone. I clicked to post a story. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't bitter. Just a simple message. I'm done begging for a seat at the table I helped build. I closed the app, and I drove away not because I wanted to escape them, but because for once I wanted to choose myself. I didn't expect fallout. I thought they'd be relieved I left. But 2 days later, a text came in from my cousin Lana. "Hey, just wanted to check in. They're saying you made a scene." that you stormed out to ruin Noel's moment. I blinked at the message, then stared at the wall. I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't confronted anyone. I hadn't even cried in public. But apparently my absence made more noise than my presence ever did. Lana sent a screenshot from the family group chat. My sister's message was front and center. Classic Alina. She always finds a way to make everything about her. I didn't even say anything about her kid coming, and she still managed to sulk in the hallway like a martyr. Another message followed. My mom chimed in with, "We invited her. If she left, that's on her." Then silence. Except from one person. My Aunt Doreen replied, "You left her standing in the hallway with a child. You know what that looked like? You know what it felt like." 2 minutes later, her message was followed by, "This isn't the place for drama." Another relative responded with a row of eye-roll emojis. The thread moved on without her. I didn't reply, but I screenshotted everything. Not out of pettiness. Out of self-preservation. A week passed. The silence from my parents and sister was absolute. Then I got a message. From someone unexpected. Her name was Marla, an old family friend who used to babysit me when I was 10. She sent a voice note. Her voice cracked with hesitation, but also something deeper. "Alina, I didn't know if I should say this, but I couldn't stay quiet. Your parents, they told the church ushers not to seat you. They didn't want you in the formal photos. They thought having, well, you with your daughter would distract from the look they were going for. I overheard it, and I'm sorry I didn't stop it then." The breath left my lungs like a punch. I sat on the floor, Maya playing with blocks in the other room, and just listened to that message on loop. I hadn't imagined it. I hadn't overreacted. I had been erased intentionally. Later that evening, a friend who had filmed parts of the dedication sent me a clip. "Thought you might want this." Weird thing, when the camera panned across the sanctuary, it always cut right before your section. Like someone directed it. I watched the footage. Sure enough, every wide shot conveniently skipped the aisle I should have been sitting in. I wasn't part of the visual memory, because they planned it that way. That night, I opened my laptop, and I wrote. I didn't name names, but everyone knew. I posted to my personal page a photo of Maya's tiny silver gift box on my kitchen counter, still unopened, and beneath it a message. I showed up early. I wore my best. I brought a gift and my child. I stood in the hallway, while people I didn't recognize were guided to reserved seats inside. And when I left, quietly with grace, I was called dramatic. This isn't about one day. It's about years. Years of being good enough to help, but not good enough to include. Years of being the big sister when it was convenient, and invisible when it wasn't. I sacrificed for this family. I protected their image. I bit my tongue so often it bruised. But not anymore. You can build a table with your hands. You can set every plate. But if they still won't give you a chair, it's time to build your own damn house. The post went live at midnight. By morning, I had over 300 comments. Messages poured in from friends, coworkers, even distant cousins. Some said they had seen the way I was treated for years, but hadn't known what to say. Others said they'd experienced the same thing in their own families. Quiet exile in plain sight. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel alone. Noelle messaged me 4 days later. "Can we talk? Just the two of us. This has gotten out of hand." She didn't apologize. She didn't deny it. She just wanted the noise to stop. I replied simply, "I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done." She saw the message. She didn't reply. And that was the last time we spoke. Since then, I've started spending more time with people who see Maya and I for who we really are, not what we weren't. We've been invited to dinners, picnics, school events where no one flinches when I say I'm a single mom. I've made friends who check in just because, who listen without judging, who don't ask me to shrink so others can shine. I don't know what the next chapter of my life looks like, but I know this. I'm building it on my terms, with people who don't need to be convinced I belong. 6 months have passed since that day. A day that started with quiet excitement and ended with me standing outside a church, invisible to people I once would have bled for. Back then, I would have told you I wanted closure, that I wanted anyone to run after me, to ask me what was wrong, to fight for me, to say, "You matter here." No one ever did. And I think that's what finally made it real. Not just the torn name card, not the empty seat, but the way no one even noticed I left. But here's what I didn't expect. The silence after that day? It wasn't a punishment. It was peace. Real, unfiltered peace. The kind that creeps in when you finally stop begging people to see your worth. I started spending my weekends differently. No more sitting in the shadows of family events, hoping for scraps of affection. Instead, I took Maya to museums, to library story hours, to the beach even when it was too cold to swim. We built sandcastles and sweaters and laughed until we couldn't breathe. I let her wear glitter rain boots to the grocery store and didn't care who stared. We started a new tradition. Yes days. Once a month, Maya gets to plan the entire day. Last month, we had chocolate chip pancakes for dinner and watched cartoons under a pillow fort until midnight. I stopped dressing to be accepted. Stopped speaking like I was walking on eggshells. Stopped filtering my love for fear it was too much. And slowly, something inside me healed. I didn't just learn to live without their approval. I learned I never needed it in the first place. Maya is doing better too. Her teacher says she's more vocal in class. She sings louder, paints bolder, dances like someone who believes the whole room is her stage. And every night, she kisses me on the cheek and says, "I love our little family." That hallway, the one they left us in, it taught me something no family gathering ever did. It taught me that no matter how much history you share with people, love without respect is not love. It's control, it's convenience, and it's not enough. Sometimes, the hallway is the best place to realize you never want back in the room. There's a lesson I want to leave you with. Not just as a story, but as a truth I had to learn the hard way. If someone shows you your place in their life, believe them. Don't make excuses. Don't romanticize their silence. Don't rewrite their rejection into a riddle you need to solve. If that place is outside the room, build your own house. Build it with people who open their doors without hesitation, who set places at the table without making you earn it, who don't just invite you into the photo, but want you in the frame. I used to believe family was forever. That blood meant belonging. That love meant loyalty, even at the cost of your dignity. But now I know something truer. Family is not who you're born to. It's who holds you up, who sees you in full and doesn't look away. Family is who claps when you shine and sits beside you when you don't. So I ask you, was I wrong for walking away instead of confronting them that day? For choosing dignity over decorum? For choosing silence over spectacle? Would you have stayed, hoping they'd eventually offer you that one seat? Or would you have walked too? Tell me in the comments. I'm not just sharing this for closure. I'm sharing this for us, for anyone who's ever been asked to stand in the hallway of their own life. Because maybe, just maybe, it's time we stop waiting to be welcomed and start building doors of our own.